Republican lawmakers have presented a batch of evidence to their new government weaponization subcommittee. They say it shows how the Biden administration was pressuring tech companies to silence social media posts on the origins of the coronavirus pandemic and any information about it. Here's what the former Missouri Solicitor General told House Judiciary Chair Jim Jordan about what Dr. Fauci said in a deposition.
When you deposed Dr. Fauci, how many times did he happen to say he didn't know or couldn't remember?
He said, I do not recall or variations thereof 174 times, and adding in variations of I don't remember at least 212 times.
Wow. Smartest man on the planet couldn't remember 212 times? Is that pretty high? You've done a lot of depositions, you've done a lot of legal work, you've deposed a lot of people. Is 212 times pretty high?
I've taken dozens of depositions. I've never seen anything like it, including in this case where other federal government witnesses frequently profess inability to recall.
Well, if his memory was so bad, why was he in charge of keeping the nation alive during a pandemic? New Fox polling finds 62% of voters say they believe COVID was created in a laboratory and leaked, a theory Fauci has dismissed for years. Another poll finds a majority believing Team Biden has been covering up information on where COVID came from. Steve Hilton, host of The Next Revolution. So talk to me about, first of all, the social media cover-up, that the pushing away of anything that might have helped us to understand where COVID came from.
Yes, it is deeply, deeply worrying and part of a pattern of behavior from the Democrats, and we see it in every area. We see it with the politicization of the FBI. We see it with the news of the Trump case that you've been discussing. We see it right across the board, this arrogance that says, you know, we know best and we have the right to impose our views on everyone. This was actually part of a process that began way before the pandemic, when they weaponized and mobilized the federal government and its agencies with cutouts to try and hide it, to collude with big tech, to censor Americans who were concerned about election integrity. And then it transformed during the pandemic into what they called the virality project. This is all well documented. The people who are part of it bragged about what they did. We heard a lot of numbers there about the number of times that Fauci said he couldn't recall and so on. I'll give you another number. This particular piece of censorship was one of 66 COVID narratives, as they describe it. 66 COVID narratives that they silenced and censored, and they were proud to do it. One was about the origins, but there are others, for example, about people saying online, for example, that the pharmaceutical companies would benefit financially from a mandated vaccine. Now, whatever you think about the vaccine, that is a perfectly legitimate argument that someone could make. But they said, no, you can't say that. You can't actually tell the truth about where the virus came from, because it's embarrassing for the man who pushed through the reckless research that now is clearly the most likely origin of the pandemic, Anthony Fauci. He pushed it through. He broke the rules in place in 2014 in the Obama administration, the revised rules under the Trump administration. He pushed it through because he's so arrogant. He ignored all the scientific advice. Many, many scientists saying this gain-of-function research is dangerous and could lead to a pandemic. He said, no, we're going to do it anyway. And look what the result was. That's why he's stonewalling, because he's embarrassed. He knows that he, Fauci, it wasn't some passive relationship with the Wuhan lab. He personally pushed through this research. In 2011, remember, he said that engineering a potentially dangerous virus in the laboratory is a risk worth taking. That's what he thought. He took the risk, and the result was a global pandemic that killed millions. Of course, he's not going to try and help anyone trying to get to the bottom of that, because at the bottom of that is his guilt.
But with that much power and that much influence and decision-making, he got to keep his job with the memory that showed that north of 200 times he couldn't remember any of what you just said. I mean, I wouldn't put him in charge of my guinea pigs at my house, whom I love very much.
Exactly.
And I'm not joking. I mean, that kind of, or he's lying. We don't know which.
Well, he's lying. He's lying, Harris. He's absolutely lying.
All right.
There's no question that he's lying. Remember, he was told within days of the pandemic genome being sequenced by by experts in virology that it looked engineered. They had a call about that. And then the cover-up began. He knows that perfectly well. He's seen that evidence. He's seen the emails, the redacted emails, and the ones that aren't redacted.
And people around him are going to fall
on.
for. He has no memory. Well, we can't fall for it. I want to get to this and get your take on it. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez stormed off from taking a photograph. And in fact, the outburst came after she was confronted in the hallway at the Capitol by the creator of that conservative Twitter account called Libs of TikTok. Watch.
I just delivered an ethics complaint to your office because you lied about me in a committee hearing.
Oh, yeah, no,
so
actually,
I never inspired a bum for
no, you're actually super transphobic, and I never want to share space with you. Thank you.
And here's why she's facing a formal ethics complaint, by the way. This is from a hearing on big tech censorship last month.
Are you familiar with the account Libs of TikTok?
I have heard of it from the news, yes.
Mr. Roth, are you familiar with this account?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Are you aware that from August 11th to August 16th, that account posted false information about Boston Children's Hospital, claiming that they were providing hysterectomies to children?
Steve.
Look, it's absolutely part of the same pattern, which is that they cannot stand this new generation of Democrats who are just basically far-left, extremist authoritarians in their mindset. They can't stand any kind of challenge to their worldview. And so they can dish it out, but they can't take it on any subject. And they think that any kind of dissent or opposition is not just wrong, something that they should disagree with, but it's just not even acceptable, not even within the bounds of normal political discourse. It's totally different to the kind of political interaction that we used to see in the past. It's really, really worrying and frightening.
You know, it wouldn't be the first time that liberals or anybody on the left, particularly AOC, wouldn't turn that moment into something to, I don't know, sell T-shirts. The woman likes to sell gear based on her personal experiences, and she's making a lot of money from what I understand.
Yeah, I mean, this is, again, this is the point, that they, you know, someone who, if you like, lives by social media, you can die by it too. I mean, it's you know, it goes both ways, but they don't like it going both ways. And I think you're seeing that increasingly. And I think because of that, the relevance of the kinds of things that she's saying, you know, when she came on the scene, it was a breath of fresh air for a lot of people. This was a new approach, a new generation, using social media very effectively. But actually, things have moved on then. And actually, we're seeing now, you need to have the facts. You need to have arguments. You can't just put out a cute video and think that that's going to do the job.
Well, look, the ethics investigation into how she's using TikTok and charity money that has flowed through her and her efforts, we'll be watching that very closely because that's problematic. Steve Hilton, thank you so much for being in focus.
Thank you, Harris.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.